we're talking about what's happening in the 731 on the Hub City Now with your host, Tyrone Tony Reed Jr.
Hello and welcome to Hub City Now with Tyrone Tony Reed Jr. I'm your host, Tyrone Tony Reed Jr. And today we have with us Harold Mays, who is one of the organizers of Concerned Citizens of Jackson-Madison County. Thank you for being with us today, Harold.
Hey, thank you for inviting me, Tony.
Harold, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Who you are?
I am from Jackson, Tennessee. Okay. Born and raised. Currently, right now, I work with juvenile at-risk youth.
Okay.
I've been doing that for 17 years.
Wow.
And
how did you get started in that? I didn't mean to jump in on you, but I mean, I'm interested in that. What made you decide to do that?
Well, I grew up in this community. I was an at-risk youth myself coming up. Come from a single-parent home. I was into sports, and sports basically saved my life. Okay. And, so within that, once I got out of college, it was just something that drew me toward working with kids. Mm-hmm. And I started working here right in Jackson at a place called Hickory Bend with at-risk youth. Mm-hmm. And that started in 1999, and I'm still with it here today. So That's what brings me to you.
What is at-risk youth? We hear that a lot, mm-hmm. especially with the current politicians. But
sure.
Explain that to us. What exactly is at-risk youth?
At-risk youth would be, my definition would be kids that are growing up without their fathers, mm-hmm. Without mothers, mm-hmm. without proper supervision, mm-hmm. Kids that the streets are raising. Okay. Kids that are growing up in communities that are not conducive to their needs. Mm-hmm. So that would be my definition of at-risk youth.
Okay. And what is it like working with them?
Now that's interesting. I can tell you this: there's no day that's the same. Okay. Each one of these kids bring to the table a different set of problems, a different set of challenges. Mm-hmm. And so any given day, my role is to help build relationships to where they can open up and talk about some of the challenges that they're facing in mm-hmm. their community, in their home, mm-hmm. and try to offer solutions to them to help solve some of their problems.
What are some of the problems that they are facing?
Well, gangs are big right now.
Okay. Here in Jackson?
Yes, here in Jackson. Gangs is a big topic for our kids, mm-hmm. especially our at-risk youth. And normally these are students or kids that are behind in school, that education is not really important to them, mm-hmm. and they become just targets from the gangs and things of that nature. And when you don't have that proper big brother or father figure or something like that, it's just easy to get lured into and not understanding everything about what that's about. So,
right. Tell us about Concerned Citizens of Jackson-Madison County. How did that come about?
That's interesting right there. It was just a group of guys sitting around talking about certain challenges within the community.
How long ago was this?
This is probably about 2 months ago, to be honest with you. And we were just sitting around talking, and basically the JCM topic came up, And
for those who don't know, JCM was a predominantly African-American high school that was recently closed.
Yes. And I graduated from Jackson Central Mary, mm-hmm. and I kind of was kind of like the community is right now, I feel. I just felt like it would never close. Mm-hmm. I didn't get involved. Mm-hmm. I sort of just said that was just a topic, and they would never close the school. Mm-hmm. And I feel guilty right today for not getting involved and trying to do more for our city school. So
I want to first say
sure.
that I admire you for saying that, for admitting that, because a lot of times, from my past of being a reporter, people complain years after
sure.
they knew that there was a problem, and now things are about to be finalized. We're about to shut this down because for years it's been this way.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody knew that it was that way, but nobody stepped up and did anything about it.
Yes.
And, at the very end, everybody wants to complain and cry and say, oh, let's do something now, but it's too late.
Yes.
But, for you to admit that, is a big thing. And so continue on about how.
Sure. I just, I can admit that because it's the truth. And, I made a commitment to myself that no longer would I sit back and just watch things develop in the community that I have and friends have issues with.
Right.
And as we talked, more and more, I just saw that the jail expansion topic was something that I felt at this time, that we felt at this time, just should not happen.
Right.
And my reasoning behind that is that right now, with our educational system the way it is, and with our youth, inner city youth that are currently struggling with school and things of that nature, and the city of Jackson struggling with funding for the schools, school system to get them what they need for them to be successful. I just didn't understand how we could pose for millions of dollars to go into a
new
jail system
right.
before we decided to put money into our school system to help our youth.
And so from that conversation, what were your all's next step?
Our next step is that we're doing a lot of talking, but we're not doing a lot. We don't have action behind it. So we started reaching out to other friends, talking about the issue, and we all decided to meet one day, and we put together a plan to try and educate our community on community topics. One being the jail expansion, but of course Jackson has plenty of challenges and issues that are out there.
Right.
It's just happened to be right now the jail expansion we're putting at the top. So and that brings us here today.
Right. How many people were at that first meeting?
At the first meeting, that's interesting because we put it out on Facebook. We thought that we were making great strides. We went on community feedback. And a total of 6 people showed up to the first meeting.
How did that make you feel?
Discouraged, but the meeting was great. We got in there and we put our minds together, and we decided on some things that needed to happen to get more of this community topic out. And we set a date for the next meeting and decided that we were going to try and invite other people to the next meeting.
And how many people did you have at that meeting?
Tony, I'll tell you, I think the roll said that we had 27. 27, so to grow from 5 to 27 was some advancement. Right. And the people that showed up brought in enthusiasm.
Very passionate.
Oh, yeah, very passionate. But they brought in enthusiasm and ideas that some that we hadn't thought of, and some that we had, and we're just fortunate to get the people that we got out to the meeting to basically share their concerns about the community topics.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more about concerned citizens of Jackson-Madison County and what they plan to do in the future. We'll be right back.
As a former NFL football player, I never thought I would let this happen to me. I knew I had to do something. Thanks to VIP's weight loss and testosterone programs, I'm in the best shape of my life. I feel better, I look better, and live a healthier life.
Hello and welcome back to Hub City Now. I'm your host, Tyrone Tony Reed Jr., and we're back again with Harold Mays, one of the organizers of Concerned Citizens of Jackson-Madison County. Let's talk a little bit more about what happened at that second meeting where there were 5 times as many people over 5 times as many people who had come to the first meeting. Just kind of tell me about what it was like, the atmosphere.
Sure. Well, the good thing was we had people from all walks of life that showed up. We had the young population represented, the middle-aged population represented, and senior representation as well. That meeting right there, being the second meeting, we had people that had a lot of great ideas and a lot of passion about certain things.
Right.
And a big part of my role in that meeting was trying to structure it in a way to where everybody could be heard,
right,
and everyone could be respected of what their opinions or ideologies were centered around their subject. During that meeting, I learned a lot about organizing and structuring the meeting because people were passionate and they wanted to be heard.
Right.
So
a lot of times speaking over each other.
Oh yeah.
And I have to say, I was there. I covered that event for a newspaper for the West Tennessee Examiner, which I freelance for. But like you said, there were people who were very passionate, who were very concerned about their community, who wanted to know what they had to do, and whether, what was this just going to be one-time meeting, or and then we, never come back again, or what the next steps were. One of the ideas that was mentioned by you was information party. Can you tell me a little bit about what that is? What your idea for that was?
Sure. That idea it arose from basically the closing of Jackson Central Mary.
Okay.
For some reason, information that is streamlined to our community seems to not hold up. And I explained that a little bit. We really feel that in order for us to move forward, that we're going to have to have some type of revenue that's formed from the citizens of Jackson, supporting ourselves. The reason why I brought up the JCM thing is that I really feel that if we would have been having some meetings and things like that prior to JCM's closing, that we would have been much farther ahead of the calls and been able to put a plan of action to make sure our voices are heard. So talking about knowledge gatherings or parties or however you want to word that, we're looking at a 3-year plan to where we're planning on holding knowledge gatherings, and that would look like, where we're talking about community topics, community issues, as well as playing a little music and offering to sell tables.
Okay.
And the reason why tables is reason why we would sell tables is because we're trying to build that revenue.
Right.
Okay. A table would sit at least 6 people. 6 people to a table with the goal of selling at least 100 tables per meeting. That table would represent $75 tables. If we meet our goal, that first knowledge party would earn $7,500.
Right.
That the community would earn. With the goal of having at least 10 knowledge parties a year, which would come out to be about a knowledge party every 36 days. If we meet our goal, then that's roughly about $75,000 that the community can earn within itself. On a 3-year plan, if that goal is met, that averages out to about $225,000. We really feel that if we can meet our goal, then we can force the powers to be to really take our community seriously about certain things and hopefully at some point get them to buy into one of our major goals, and that is not a jail, but to build a educational, recreational type center for our inner city youth or youth period to be able to come to. So,
and you'll be able to say, here, this is what we've been able to raise. What can you do now?
Yes.
Right.
And we really feel that right now with the Madison County or City of Jackson or whatever, saying that they would like to, take $30 to $60 million of taxpayer monies to expand the jail, that we could capitalize off that and see if we could get at least some of that money to build something that we feel that will help keep our youth out of jail.
Right.
And I think that should be the first foremost type
goal.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, for our youth. Now, within that, that mega center wouldn't just be just for recreation.
Mm-hmm.
I work with youth at this point, in my life, and we understand that the thinking is very important centered around our youth.
Mm-hmm.
So we're planning on having, well, let me slow down.
Okay.
I attended the Overbound program when I was growing up here in Jackson, Tennessee, and that program was so beneficial to me just for the simple fact of it taught us a year ahead. And so what I mean on that is during summertime and stuff like that, the following year when we was getting ready to go to school, we had already taken the courses that we were going to take.
Right.
And I benefited from that.
Right.
So this program here would be centered around the educational components, tutoring, getting these kids back into a school type environment, but where they can focus on their studies.
Right, and prepare for the ACT and the SAT
prep. But all kids are not college type kids.
Right.
So some
technical
type of
skills,
vocational things of that nature right there to give them the fundamentals of that,
right,
so they can understand that they have options if they choose not to go to college.
Right.
And we really feel that most of the youth that fit in that category are the ones that we're trying to reach. And we just feel that there are not enough resources at this time or not enough knowledge about those resources to get our kids involved in it. So that's kind of where we at.
Okay. How does it feel to you said you felt bad for not stepping in when JCM. How does it feel now to be a part of something that's pushing forward, that's actually trying to get things done before they happen now?
Well, Tony, to be honest with you, we're still in the early stages, but I can tell you that just social responsibility-wise, it's heartwarming, and don't get me wrong, it's a challenge because you talk to people and people say that, hey, we're down with you, and then
you look around and then
but that's the crowd that we're trying to reach because I admitted to you that on the JCM topic I was asleep, and it just seems like that we got a lot of citizens right now that are asleep and blind to the fact of what's actually going on here in Jackson, Tennessee. So that's what I'm hoping to obtain, is to wake the masses, work with the masses, support the masses on community topics.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk to you about how you can wake up and help your community. We'll be right back.
As a former NFL football player, I never thought I would let this happen to me. I knew I had to do something. Thanks to VIP's weight loss and testosterone programs, I'm in the best shape of my life. I feel better, I look better, and live a healthier life.
Hello and welcome back to Hub City Now. I'm your host, Tyrone Tony Reed Jr. We're here with Harold Mays, one of the organizers with the Concerned Citizens of Jackson-Madison County. What are you all's next steps? What are you all planning to do next?
Okay. Well, Tony, let me roll back to meeting 2.
Okay.
In meeting 2, we set a few goals.
Okay.
One of the goals was to have a presence at the JCM alumni thing that just passed.
Okay.
And get flyers out and have a petition started to say no jail expansion before education.
Okay.
Those two goals were met. Currently, we do have a petition out. It's on Harold Mays' my Facebook page.
Okay.
And, you can get to it that way. Okay. However, I am going to say that we're having some challenges with that petition. And currently, right now, we're working on starting a new petition through change.org.
Okay.
And it's not that type of petition, but that will be up tonight.
Okay.
And going. So those were met. One of our other goals in that meeting was to reach out to the city councilmen, as well as county commission officials, to invite them to the next meeting, which we just had on Sunday.
And how many commissioners and county commissioners took you all up on your offer?
Well, to be honest with you, we had two. We had one from the city council, which was Mr. Johnny Dodd, who did show up, and we invited Mr. Luther Mercer, Sr., to the meeting, in which he showed up as well.
Okay. So you had one from the city and one from the county?
Yes.
Okay.
And those were the only two that we invited. I'm just put that out there right now.
Okay.
And they came, and the reason for them coming was we just wanted some clarity on what was going on from our city and county officials.
Okay.
One thing that came out of that Mr. Dodd made very clear was that this was not a city type issue, that it really was a county commission issue.
Okay.
Now, within
You're
that,
talking about the jail.
the jail,
Okay.
the jail expansion.
Okay.
However, this meeting here, we had close to 30 people that was there, and they were able to ask Mr. Johnny Dodd and Mr. Luther Mercer just questions centered around the topic. Interestingly enough, Johnny Dodd basically had a lot of the visions that we have.
Okay.
He spoke about being against the jail expansion, and that he had a lot of ideas centered around a recreational type center that he felt could keep kids out of there. And once again, he made clear that it was not a city type issue.
Mm-hmm.
However, from that situation, one of the questions that arose was that, if we can get the city council, not just Johnny, but other members of the city council and hear their input and see where they actually stand with it, we do feel that it's still a city issue.
Right. Because it's in the city.
Yeah. Because, if we got majority city council sitting here saying that no, then I think that that forces the county commission to at least have to look at what's going on there. So that was brought to Mr. Dodd's attention, and there we go.
Well, what did Mr. Mercer have to say? Because he's the county commissioner.
Well, first of all, like I said, I want to say thank you for him coming out under short notice. Mr. Mercer basically explained that no decision had been made centered around the jail. He basically explained that that the county commission had been looking at ways to deal with the overcrowdedness issue in the county jail, but no decision had been made. Now, he was presented some paperwork that had his name on it that we had questions about, and he basically had said that that paperwork, at that point, it did not matter, just for the simple fact of no decision had been made, and that he wants to base his decision based off of actual facts,
right.
Which I can respect. And we asked him that once those facts came in, would he be willing to share those with us so we would know exactly where he stands with that decision of building a new jail or expanding the jail. So it kind of left that way right there. Basically, from the end of that meeting, what we decided to do at that point was to reach out to other city councilmen to hear their feedback on where they stood centered around that, and other county commissioners as well.
Right.
So that's the plan of action for our next meeting on October the 9th.
Okay.
is to get letters out to them, to get them invited so we can hear where they stand with that, with the issue of expanding the jail. And we are planning on reaching out to local pastors. Okay. We want to get at least 6 local pastors into the building where we can just see how they can either help or offer solutions to us about the best plan of action that we can get to get more people involved in our organization to help the city of Jackson and the county officials to see that this is not something that the city is, that the citizens of Jackson is pushing for.
Okay. What other issues does the concerned citizens of Jackson-Madison County plan to address in the future? What are some of the things that you'd like to see addressed?
Well, first and foremost, we understand that voting, community voting, has to be a major topic.
Because it's down, isn't it? It's
way down.
Not where it should be.
Yeah, that's what I meant by people are asleep.
Right.
And, so we understand that has to be a major topic for our community, which is one of the reasons that we're trying to link with other organizations that are pushing for voting, as well as the local churches, because we would like to offer assistance with our name to try and pull more people to the polls, so we can make sure that the people that we have representing us on the city council and county commission and educational board are actually people that have the community's best interests.
Right. What can people do to get involved or help the organization out?
Well, first of all, it would be
wake up.
Yeah, wake up. There you go. Wake up and take some time out your day and come to one of the meetings. I think people will be surprised of the structure and the respect level that we're having in these meetings, and we're just trying to bring awareness to the community. I guess in a nutshell, we want to bring the community together and not be having all these separate entities, because that works against us. We need to all get on one page, and I know it sounds easy, and we understand that there can be a challenge, but we really feel that it can be done with community meetings and just people being able to sit down and talk about what's going on.
Right. Now, is this group for just a certain group of people, or is this for anybody?
No, this is for everybody.
Okay.
When I speak community, I'm speaking citizens of Jackson-Madison County.
Okay.
This is not a separate organization. This is not a
black or white.
No, it's nothing like that. It's anybody that feels that our education should be first and foremost before we start building jails, that voting is important, that getting on top of the gang violence issues that we have in our community it is important. We welcome them, and we're really eager to get other people to get involved, because we understand that the more people involved, the more knowledge that comes to the meeting, and because we don't know everything,
Right.
we're trying to get people involved so we can move forward with a peaceful, organized organization to meet the community's needs.
All right. Well, thank you, Harold, for being with us. We really appreciate it. We also like to thank our, before I thank our sponsors, for more information about the concerned citizens of Jackson-Madison County, go to Facebook and type in Concerned Citizens of Jackson-Madison County to find out more information, to find out when the next meetings are, upcoming events, more about the petition and any other information, or if you want to contact them, you can reach them by Facebook. We'd like to thank the sponsors for the show: Baskerville Funeral Home, City of Brownsville, R&R Custom Wheel and Tires, and Staff